Chairman, members of the committee, I appreciate the invitation to speak with you here today in what in the public safety arena we would consider a matter of honor. An honor that's not given, but one that's earned. My name is Don Mihalek, and I represent 26,000 members in the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association and serve as its Executive Vice President. I've been in law enforcement for over 23 years. When I speak of honor, I'm talking about that earned by law enforcement officers that responded to the September 11th attacks, the Boston bombings, the devastation of Hurricane Katrina, currently serving on a presidential campaign, in the streets of our cities, on our borders, out at sea, and in places like the Middle East, where federal law enforcement officers are embedded with U.S. troops all throughout Central Command. The PSOB program was created in 1976 as a backstop for law enforcement officers and their families when an officer made the ultimate sacrifice. Unfortunately, throughout its history, it's become mired in bureaucracy and overregulation that have turned what should be an expeditious process under the worst of circumstances into one that creates more of a burden than relieving one. The issues of processing delays, Olympic-sized paperwork hurdles, redundant legal reviews, and a lack of acceptance of outside medical evidence have created a cauldron that just boils but never seems to cook. According to a letter sent by your committee, over 1,000 cases, 165 of them September 11th related, are in different stages of adjudication, the oldest since 2006. This is unacceptable. It translates to thousands of heroes' families waiting for trying to find out where their case stands. This includes children who are trying to determine whether they can have the scholarship benefit to pay for college and waiting for PSOB to determine whether the causality requirement has been met. That doesn't bode well for President Lincoln's statement of to care for those that have borne the battle for their widows and orphans. The PSOB itself admits that its internal processing issues and documentation requirements are problematic and have engaged the law enforcement community, and I credit them for that. But after several investigations that you've cited, the PSOB itself is still unable to correct its problems. It's admitted that ground ball cases take 2 months to vet. And these include cases like those of Air Force Office of Special Investigations special agents that were killed in December last year in Afghanistan by a suicide bomber. I would hope that that case was considered a ground ball. FLEOA's General Counsel, Larry Berger, who has handled several of these cases, says it takes an average of 5 years for a case to get to the adjudication phase. In his opinion, there's really no excuse. What this leads up to is the need for legislative reforms for the PSOB program. It's our view that the paperwork process should be streamlined and made easier, that the legal review process should either be eliminated for ground ball cases or be consolidated in a task force approach with the claims manager. There should be a timeline imposed on PSOB to get back to the families, to let them know where their case stands and give them a yes or a no, so they know where to go from there. The scholarship program part of PSOB should be segregated out. It should be a completely separate process based on the merits of whether the loved one died in the line of duty or not based upon whether there's a causality requirement that's been met. And the Court of Federal Claims lost its jurisdiction a few years ago after a rewrite of the PSOB regulations. We recommend that that court be reinstituted as the first review for the claimant. You know, Mr. Chairman, not far from here is a wall with 20,000 law enforcement officer names at the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial. It's the only memorial in D.C. that adds names every year. On that memorial is an inscription that says, "In valor there is hope." What we're talking about here is restoring some hope to that valor. I appreciate the invitation to testify before your committee, the opportunity to speak with you. We look forward to your support to make these reforms, and I'm available to answer any questions on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mihalek.